I might put it down, otherwise I'll fiddle with it if that's okay. I used to play professional netball. I was at an elite level for almost 20 years, which makes me feel really old. I have won 5 premierships in the UK. I won a premiership in Australia. I've been to 3 Commonwealth Games, to 2 Netball World Cups, and everything about my life has been about being a netballer. All of the decisions that I've made, the person I am today, the lessons that I've learned along the way, and also all of the success is thanks to that sport. But now I'm a general manager of operations at Rowing, Western Australia, and I am also the vice captain of the West Perth Football Club women's team. I retired from playing netball in 2022, and being the planned person that I am, I already knew where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do and the impact that I wanted to carry outside of having been a professional athlete. But there was always something missing. So I actually moved to a new city with my wife for a job opportunity, and in order to meet people, I Googled what was the closest to my house that I could ride my bike to in terms of a team sport, and that ended up being football. So I sent them a message, I went down on my bike and I joined the Cooperee Kings. Unfortunately for me, they were playing in the quaffle, so it was a much higher level than I anticipated, but once I was there, they wouldn't let me leave. I had the best time. I really enjoyed being out of my comfort zone, learning new things every 5 minutes, and not being able to compare anything that I did to anything that I'd done before. The main reason I was there was that I could ride my bike and also because I just wanted to have fun. Due to various circumstances, we ended up moving back to Perth, and the football coach that I had at the time just said, "Oh my God, you're just getting started. You absolutely have to keep doing this. Let me make some calls and I will connect you with the right place and the right team." And that connection was to Deggers, who's the head coach at West Perth. And we had a good chat on the phone, but what I knew immediately was that the step from the Kings to the Falcons was a pretty significant one. The commitment was quite high, and the quality of the programme and the ambitions of the club, where they wanted to go, were pushing a little bit closer to professionalism and further away from fun than what I thought I wanted. The biggest struggle I have is unrelenting standards and incredibly high amounts of pressure that I put on myself in every environment, and that often also trickles over into the people closest to me that I love the most. And what I really wanted from football was a space where I could shed a little bit of that load, where I could just go and enjoy myself, and to not have that level of pressure and expectation that I would put on me. So I moved back to Perth mid-season, decided that I wasn't going to join the club, and that I would just take some time to think about it. But then sport, you miss it, and 2024 came around and I decided to reach out, and the club said, "Come down, come to the induction." I remember driving from where I live in Mosman Park to West Perth, and I thought that West Perth was in a different place to where it is geographically as a club. West Perth Falcons are based in Joondalup, so I was in the car for a while. It did not feel like riding my bike to training, and it gave me lots of time to think about why this might not be the right choice for me. That maybe sitting in the car for 50 minutes wasn't fun, but I got there and jumped out and was immediately impressed by the club. I remember walking in and hearing the noise of loads of excited women and girls, and it made me incredibly nervous walking up the stairs to go into the meeting room. I was on my own, and when I walked in, it felt like everybody had somebody. There were lots of young women with their parents, and I am far past the age of needing a parent to take me to things. Everybody seemed to be in groups, and lots of people already had kit on. I remember feeling really tall, which I really liked. Netball is a height of sport, and I was always very average size, and I remember going into the room and feeling like a big dog. I also remember hearing the whisperings of somebody say my name, and I realised that there was maybe some people in the room who knew that I played netball, which made me instantly realise a part of what I'd loved in Brisbane is that no one had a clue. They just thought I was this fit person that had appeared out of nowhere, which I fully indulged. But what I remember most is the messaging and the delivery, the values of what the club stood for and where they wanted to go and what they wanted to do. Immediately the kind of inner elite athlete in me was wanting to know more. The manager and the coach came and spoke to me after the induction and just made me feel incredibly welcome, and I knew that I was a goner as soon as the presentation had finished and that the club was a place where I wanted to be. 2024 as a season was brilliant. It was just so much fun. Everyone was incredibly welcoming. I had zero expectations on myself. I've always been incredibly busy. I hold lots of different roles in and outside of sport, but the club were really great at giving me the time and the space that I needed to do all of the things that I love and participate in the way that I wanted to. 2025 came around and I got voted in as vice captain, which is insane because I still don't know all of the rules, but apparently that's not a prerequisite. It was incredibly validating, and I felt such a huge sense of belonging at being recognised as a leader in such a short period of time of involvement with the club. It also kind of tapped into some inner messaging and a history that I've had with netball around being told quite clearly that I didn't have any leadership qualities. And so it was just a really unique and special experience. With that, I think it also felt like pressure, very much internally and from myself, and definitely not from anybody else. But 2025 just felt a little bit different. I felt like I had to be a leader, even though nobody asked me to be any different. I was also moving into a new role at work, and I also got injured. And so coming towards the end of the year, I felt very dissatisfied, but wasn't sure whether maybe that was the time to call on my football career. My new job in another sport that I know not very much about was crazy. I was really, really struggling, and I just spoke to the club and said, look, I need some time. I'm not sure if football's the right choice for me right now. I didn't want to compromise the programme and those unrelenting standards and pressure and expectation that I put on myself. I just couldn't switch off. But sport is unlike anything else. I'm very ambitious about my career and being a professional, but there are moments like game day or singing a song with a team when you win that you don't get in an office. And so I reached out to the club and asked if they felt like there was space for me to be a part of the programme again moving forward in 2026. I also said that I felt like I could only commit to one evening or 2 evenings, and the coach sent me back the most perfect response. And he said, I'm so glad that you've taken the time to respect the roles that you have, because we want you to bring you to our club, and whatever that is perfect, which was incredible. I think having had quite a long and successful career as an elite athlete, it is really difficult to switch that off. I rarely mentioned fun when I was playing netball. There are elements of it now that I look back on and it's incredible, but for me the main reason to be a Falcon is that it's fun. But I'm constantly feeling compromised that I don't want to bring down the value of where the team is trying to go. But what I do feel is important is to respect and listen to the people that are around you, to be incredibly mindful of how a place makes you feel when you're doing things that are in line with your values. And I think my ongoing lesson, as well as the rules of football, is to be comfortable unlearning some of the skills and attributes that made me incredibly professional as an athlete, successful as an athlete, that have led me to leadership roles in my career, but also that potentially don't serve me anymore because I'm not expected to be that perfect version of myself. I can be exactly who I need to be at West Perth Falcons, and that's the best